On April 3rd, the Fort Myers Police Department in Fort Myers, Florida, responded to a horrific crime scene at a gas station where an innocent mother was violently attacked and murdered. Their surveillance footage, which is circulating widely on social media, shows Robert Joaquin, a Haitian illegal alien, brutally striking the victim multiple times in the head with a hammer. This senseless act has shocked our community and underscores the critical importance of immigration enforcement and our role in public safety.
It was an ordinary Wednesday morning in Fort Myers, Florida. The sun was just coming up, traffic was thin, the kind of morning where nothing feels like it's about to change forever. But at a small gas station convenience store on Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard, a woman was already behind the counter. She had been there for months doing what she always did, working hard, staying quiet, providing for her daughters. Her name was Nilufa Easmin. At 7:20 in the morning, Fort Myers police received a frantic call. A woman had been struck with a hammer outside the gas station. When officers arrived, she was lying on the pavement, blood pooling around her head. By the time they got there, the man who did it had already walked away, calmly, deliberately, without looking back. She did everything right. She came to this country. She raised 2 daughters. She worked 2 jobs. She played by the rules. This is not just a story about a brutal crime. It is a story about a woman who deserved better from the world, from the system, and from a country she gave 30 years of her life to. This is the story of Nilufa Easmin, and it will stay with you. Nilufa Easmin was 51 years old. She was originally from Bangladesh, from a country thousands of miles away, but America had been her home for nearly 3 decades. She came here with nothing but determination. She built a life in Miami, then Palm Beach, and eventually she made her way to the west coast of Florida, Fort Myers. She had 2 daughters, both of them born right here in the United States, both of them her entire world. Samir Bahadur Sid, president of the Bangladesh Association of Southwest Florida, described her simply and powerfully, a devoted mother who worked tirelessly to provide for her 2 young daughters. That wasn't an exaggeration. Nilufa was working not 1 but 2 jobs. She had been at the D&D convenience store, a small Bangladeshi-owned shop attached to the Chevron station, for roughly 5 months. She was reliable, she was warm, coworkers liked her, customers recognized her face. She was the kind of person you don't notice until she's gone. She could have been anyone's mother, anyone's neighbor, anyone's friend. She had no criminal record, no enemies that anyone knew of. She was a woman who kept her head down, showed up every day, and asked for nothing except the chance to give her daughters a better life than she had. That's who Nilufa Easmin was. And on the morning of April 2nd, 2026, a man she had met only once before took that life away from her. 2 days before the murder, a man walked into the store. He tried to use the ATM. It didn't work the way he expected. He approached Nilufa and told her the machine had taken his money. She explained calmly that the ATM belonged to a bank, not the store. It wasn't her responsibility. She couldn't give him cash. He left. That should have been the end of it. It was. On the morning of April 2nd, Nilufa arrived for her shift like any other day. The sun was barely up. The parking lot was quiet. She had no reason to believe anything was wrong. Then she heard it. The sound of her car windshield being smashed. She went outside to see what happened. It was instinct. It was human. She stepped through that door and walked straight into a trap. The man was waiting for her. He was wearing the same clothes she had seen him in 2 days earlier. Investigators later confirmed this was deliberate. He wanted her to recognize him. He had a hammer. Surveillance footage from the gas station captured everything. As Nilufa stepped outside, the man charged toward her and struck her in the head repeatedly with the hammer. Then he stepped over her body and walked away. Fort Myers police were called at 7:20. Officers arrived to find Nilufa lying on the ground, blood around her head, multiple lacerations. She was still alive, but barely. She did not survive. Within hours, the city had launched a full manhunt. K-9 units, Lee County Sheriff's aviation teams, nearby schools placed on lockdown. Later that same day, officers found the suspect walking on Mango Street just blocks away. His name was Robert Jochin. He was 40 years old, he was from Haiti, and when detectives spoke to him, he admitted everything. Robert Jochin, remember that name. He was not a stranger. He had walked into that store 2 days earlier, a dispute over an ATM, a refusal, a grudge that festered into something unthinkable. According to Fort Myers Police Detective Lainer Rodriguez, the lead investigator, Jochin confessed during questioning. He told detectives he had returned to that Chevron station specifically to kill Nilufa Easmin, not to threaten her, not to confront her, to kill her. He smashed her windshield with the hammer to lure her outside. He wore the same clothes she had seen him in so she would recognize his face before he struck. This was premeditated, calculated, cold. He planned it, he dressed for it, he waited for her to walk out that door. Jochin first entered the United States in August 2022. He was a Haitian national who had been released into the country under the Biden administration. A federal immigration judge issued a final order of removal against him that same year. But he was never removed. Instead, he was granted temporary protected status, a humanitarian protection program that shields people from deportation due to dangerous conditions in their home country. His TPS expired in 2024, and yet, at the time of the murder in April 2026, he was still in the United States. His TPS was not revoked until after the killing. That detail became the center of an enormous political firestorm, one that, in many ways, drowned out the story of the woman who actually died. President Trump posted surveillance footage of the attack on Truth Social on April 9th, calling Jochin an animal and using the killing to argue for an end to temporary protected status. The post went viral. Conservative media ran the footage on loop. Politicians on both sides weighed in. And somewhere in the noise, Nilufa Easmin disappeared from her own story. Observers and journalists pushed back. They pointed out that Nilufa herself was an immigrant from Bangladesh, and that the Bangladeshi community employing her, mourning her, laying flowers at that gas station was also a community of immigrants. They noted that Jochin's TPS had not been revoked under Trump, even in the months between his return to office and the murder. Immigration researchers also noted that studies consistently show immigrants, documented or not, are statistically less likely to commit violent crimes than native-born citizens. But none of that brings Nilufa back. The motive in this case at its core was chilling in its simplicity. A man felt disrespected over an ATM dispute, and instead of moving on, he planned, prepared, and executed a premeditated murder of a woman who had done absolutely nothing wrong. Jochin has pleaded not guilty. As the investigation unfolded, several details emerged that made this case more disturbing, not less. First, the confession. In almost every true crime case, the investigation drags on, suspects stay silent, lawyers intervene. But Jochin, according to the detective's testimony at his pretrial detention hearing, admitted to detectives that he went to that gas station specifically to kill Nilufa. He planned the clothing, he planned the windshield, he planned all of it. Second, the timing of the political response. Trump posted the surveillance footage on April 9th, a full week after the murder. Why then? Analysts pointed out that the timing coincided with a period of intense pressure on the administration, including political setbacks and legal defeats around immigration policy. The footage, graphic as it was, arrived precisely when it was most politically useful. Third, and most painful, no tribute. A GoFundMe had been established by the Bangladesh Association of Southwest Florida to cover Nilufa's funeral costs and support her 2 daughters. When the president chose to engage with this case, he did not share the GoFundMe. He shared the video of her death. She was not a prop, she was a person, a mother, and she deserved better than to become content. Fourth, the system failures that may have allowed this to happen. A removal order was issued in 2022. TPS protections lapsed in 2024. The Trump administration had been in office since January 2025. Jochin was still here in April 2026, under a status that remained technically unrevoked until after the murder. Who bears responsibility for that failure? That question remains unanswered and deeply contested. What isn't contested? A woman went to work, a man came back for her, and the system at every level failed to protect her before it was too late. As of April 2026, here is where the case stands. Robert Jochin remains in custody. He has been charged with murder in Lee County and faces additional federal immigration charges. On May 4, 2026, a judge will decide whether to grant him bail. Federal immigration authorities have lodged a detainer, meaning they intend to pursue deportation if he is ever released from criminal custody. He has pleaded not guilty to all charges. The criminal case must now proceed through the courts. Prosecutors will need to prove their case. Given the surveillance footage, the confession, and the testimony of the lead detective, the evidence appears substantial. But the legal process takes time. It always does. Back in Fort Myers, the community is grieving. A memorial has grown outside the Chevron station, flowers, candles, handwritten notes. The Bangladesh Association of Southwest Florida has been raising funds to support Nilufa's daughters, both of whom are now without their mother. Her daughters were born in this country. They grew up here, and now they are navigating an unimaginable loss while the circumstances of their mother's death have been turned into a national debate they never asked to be part of. The woman at the center of this story disappeared almost immediately from the political conversation surrounding it. That cannot be allowed to happen. If you take nothing else from this video, take this. Nilufa Easmin was not a symbol. She was not a talking point. She was a mother who worked 2 jobs, who raised 2 daughters in a country that was not her birthplace but became her home. She was the kind of person politicians say they want to protect, and she was failed by systems at every level. The least we can do, the very least, is say her name, remember who she was, and make sure her daughters know that the world has not forgotten their mother. If you want to support her family directly, the Bangladesh Association of Southwest Florida has set up a GoFundMe in her name. The link will be in the description. And if this case matters to you, if you believe that every victim deserves to be seen as a person, not a headline, then share this video. Because the only way Nilufa's story stays alive is if we keep telling it. Nilufa Easmin came to America with nothing but hope. She built a life, she raised 2 daughters, she showed up every single day. She deserved to grow old, she deserved to see her daughters thrive. She deserved better than a Tuesday morning in a parking lot. Her name was Nilufa Easmin, and her story should never be forgotten. Do you believe the system failed Nilufa Easmin, and if so, at what point? Let us know in the comments below. And what do you think real accountability looks like in a case like this?